Yeah, man. The guitar plugin world is freaking amazing right now. We're getting to a point where we have so many different products from different brands, and almost all tube amplifiers are available in some shape or form in plugin format. It's really great, but in my opinion, an amplifier sim is only half the battle. The cabinet impulse response is basically the most important aspect of a tone, especially in a mix. And the plugins have been really good at accommodating this, including impulse responses to load in plugins. In some, you can even blend the IRs and give yourself a huge plethora of different sounds. Possibilities are becoming endless, but there are always areas where things can improve and become better, and especially in the field of impulse responses. And today, I'm testing out the Cabinetron, which is it's just a great name. You know, when Optimus Prime is calling for his units, Cabinetron. You know, the Cabinetron is essentially the cabinet impulse response plugins of plugins. It's an impulse response browser, mixer, tone, and exporting plugin. You know, very much like the STL Libra, but taking it a couple of extra steps. It's an impulse response browser, mixer, tone matching, and exporting plugin. And this sounds fancy and promising in text and all, but I've started to use this app, and I've discovered a lot of different things that I never knew I needed until now. Also, before I start, as a disclaimer, I did get a free license of Cabinetron, but that will not affect what I think of the product or how I will portray the product in this video. I'm gonna be honest as usual, okay? Let's start with checking out the layout. It's very simple. You have a library or list right here where you can check out the included cabinet impulse responses. There are specific cabinets, as you can see, and also a couple of mixed impulse responses as well. You also have a wide array of different filters, so you can basically filter out, you know, the bullshit. I personally never use like 1x12 cabinet impulse responses for some reason. I always go for the 4x12s. They just sound the best. Some 2x12s are also good, but 4x12s, that's where it's at. You have a mixer section, and this is where you will mix the balance between the impulse responses you choose to work with. And then you have the EQ section, where you can do simple EQing or even some tone matching. There's a doubler feature and also a room function, and this is quite funny. When they sent an email about this plugin, they told me that they were inspired by my In the Room videos, where I try to make something sound like it's not, you know, a microphone in front of an amplifier. It's more about capturing the essence of how an amplifier sounds in the room. They got inspired by my videos here and put that in the room function right there. How cool is that? All that inspiring shit. You can choose to make the output non-linear, which Cabinetron states makes the impulse responses sound more real and tight. And for this video, I have a Chug Project song in the background, and along with 2 guitar tracks that are reamped with the Chug pedal. Where is it? There it is. It's reamped with this pedal and absolutely nothing else. And I'm gonna test out the Cabinetron on these reamped guitars, and they sound like this. And obviously they don't have a speaker simulation on them right now, and you know, sounds pretty harsh as they are. It's just this sound basically. Going back to the list, there are 400 impulse response presets included in the app already, so you actually have a really good starting point. And to use them, you basically pull them to the main space right here, like that. And you can add up to 8 different cabinet impulse responses in one go, and the plugin will basically sum them all up for you. But as of right now, let's just keep sticking to one. And as you've loaded in your impulse responses, you have a couple of different controls right here. You have volume, you have pan, you have phase, you have dry, so you can, you know, mix between a dry signal and not dry signal. They have something called mutation, which is basically cabinet variations or voicings. So you can have different voicings to your impulse response, even the ones you made yourself. So check this out. See how it changes the impulse response a little bit? Scoop. Huge. Let's do huge. The miking segment has a smooth option. As you can see, it's smoothing out the EQ curve right there. It also has something called the Fred, which is a miking simulation and virtual mic positioning. So even though you have a fixed impulse response, which is you know, a certain microphone and a distance to a speaker, you can simulate that impulse response, you know, having the microphone further away from the speaker. You know, at the side here you have an EQ as well as high pass and low pass filters. So even just coming down to the point of working with a single impulse response, you have a lot of options for making it fit a mix or, you know, fit whatever project you're working on. So let me add a couple of other presets as well. I'm just taking a couple here out of the list. Jazz, let's bring in a 2x12, man. All right, and last but not least, let's load in my own impulse response. So now I have 4 of the included impulse responses in the app, and then I've added my own impulse response as well. And as you can hear, there's definitely some kind of phasing happening. This is quite common when you try and combine different impulse responses, especially from different brands. Well, remember when I said that, you know, there was one feature I had no idea I needed, but that I absolutely love about this app? It's called the Auto Phase Align. I just right-click on one impulse response and click Auto Phase Align. And the plugin basically fixed the cancellation problem. Let's head into the mixer. And as you can see, you can freely mix in between the different impulse responses that you loaded, much like in the app, you know, Libra from STL. And truth be told, I very much like to have this mode as I'm, you know, listening to the guitars within a mix. It's really easy to hear the differences when you listen to the guitar track alone. But if you bring in the mix, it's going to be a lot easier to hear what actually fits the mix. So I'm going to unmute the backing track and work this a little bit. I like this. This is a little bit more growly. Yeah, man. Now, if I'm happy with this, I can export this specific combination of cabinets and results to a single impulse response. You know, say I want to bring this cabinet mix right here and import it on my quad cortex. I just click the save button right here and choose to export the impulse response. That easy. All right, the last section here is the EQ section. It's pretty straightforward to work with. You engage it right there, move this around. If you want to adjust the Q value, press Command and hold. Look at that. And beneath it, we have the Match EQ section. And this is pretty simple. You know, both these components really remind me of the Logic Pro Channel EQ and the Match EQ. You load in whatever reference material you want to sound like, and then the input, in this case, you know, my guitar tone, and then you can match your sound to another recording. There are a bunch of presets in here. Grunge guitar. Let's not do grunge guitar. Let's do metalcore. Metalcore guitar 1, and now shut off the EQ. I can capture my guitar tone and then basically match it to this metalcore tone. So then stop, and there it is. It's matched to this reference right here. And I guess I now can go and pick like new metal guitar. But this doesn't necessarily have to be the presets in here. You can reference your own material as well. So if you have like a favorite guitar tone somewhere and you have the guitars only, you can just EQ match this. For the main features of the plugin, that's about it. You know, the room option is nice, but in a mixing aspect, I don't really see much use of it. It could be cool to use as an effect maybe, but you know, I wouldn't see myself using this feature that much. You also have the non-linear knob right here. It basically should make the whole reaction of the impulse response sound more tight or more real. But you know, for Mel, I can't really hear a difference, to be honest. All right, so now I muted one of the guitars and I wanted to try out the doubler. So the one guitar is in the center. So it's basically doing like a stereo spacing kind of thing and widens the guitar tone a little bit. Let's try one of the mixed impulse responses. So we have the list. Gent. In my opinion, I think that these are too voiced, to be honest. So I rather actually have, you know, the real impulses, you know, the real cabinets that are here. Check this out. Because these sound way more real. Okay, let's try this. Bring in the Ola Englund. That's so scooped right there. This is a little bit too much mids, and this is too much 2x12. I think muting this one. Something like that, maybe. So yeah, that's the plugin right there. I think it's an excellent all-in-one plugin if you're really venturing into, you know, cabinet impulse responses and such. It might not be for everyone, yes, and you know, maybe it's giving too many options to an already huge impulse response market that is out there. But I personally like it to be able to tweak my own impulse responses a little bit here and there. Especially the blend option here is something I generally come back to a lot when I'm trying to fit guitar tone to my mix. And as I said before, the auto phase align, you know, I had no idea I needed that. It's really nice to have now when I'm, you know, start mixing impulse responses from different libraries and such. The price of the plugin is $59 US, which I think is fair for something that I consider being a great tool for just any guitar nerd out there. Just shut off the cabinet section of your favorite guitar plugin and open up the possibilities with this instead. So there you go. That's my little demo for you right there. Hope you enjoyed it and see you next time. Perfect loop.